and each of them had a platoon of machine gunners guarding those tankers. As I understand it, these tankers were carrying gasoline to Crimea, specifically gasoline to Crimea. And as far as I know, they are no longer carrying gasoline to Crimea.
Crimea is being increasingly isolated as Ukraine intensifies strikes across the peninsula. Fires reported in Kerch port, power infrastructure near Simferopol and the Gvarskoye air base, while additional hits in occupied Berdyansk add further pressure. The network around Crimea is tightening and the pressure is rising fast.
Ukraine carried out another wave of long-range strikes overnight, targeting military and strategic infrastructure across occupied Crimea and deep inside Russian territory, as Kyiv continues its campaign to disrupt logistics, energy facilities, and military operations. In temporarily occupied Crimea, multiple sites were reportedly hit. Fires were recorded at the port in Kerch, a key logistical hub that supports Russian military supply lines across the Kerch Strait. Additional strikes targeted the 330 kilovolt Simferopol electrical substation and the area surrounding a mobile gas turbine power plant, potentially affecting critical energy infrastructure used by Russian forces on the peninsula. The Gvardeyskoye Air Base, one of Russia's important military aviation facilities in occupied Crimea, was also reportedly struck. While the full extent of the damage has not been officially confirmed, repeated attacks on the base reflect Ukraine's continued effort to reduce Russia's ability to launch air operations from the occupied peninsula. Further east, in the occupied city of Berdyansk, Ukrainian drones reportedly struck the Azovkabal plant during the night. According to reports, Russian forces have been using the facility to accommodate military personnel, making it a military target rather than a purely industrial site. The strikes were not limited to occupied Ukrainian territory. According to Reuters, Ukrainian drones also reached Russia's Baltic Sea coast, damaging infrastructure near the ports of Vysotsk and Ust-Luga. Ust-Luga is one of Russia's largest oil export terminals and plays a significant role in the country's energy exports. The governor of Russia's Leningrad region stated that air defenses intercepted 56 drones overnight, although debris was reported near the Ust-Luga port and the nearby Luga military training ground. The latest attacks demonstrate Ukraine's growing ability to strike targets hundreds of kilometers from the front line. By targeting ports, air bases, energy facilities, and military logistics centers simultaneously, Kyiv appears determined to increase the operational and economic costs of Russia's war effort while forcing Moscow to disperse its air defense resources across an ever-expanding area. Gasoline riot in Kuban. Russian gas stations have begun to refuse service to drivers from Crimea. Fuel shortages in occupied Crimea are reportedly creating growing tensions in southern Russia, with disruptions now spreading across the Kuban region. According to local reports, several gas stations have begun refusing to serve drivers arriving from Crimea after days of unusually high demand overwhelmed fuel supplies. The shortages have forced many Crimean motorists to cross into Russia's Krasnodar region in search of gasoline, where some reportedly waited in lines for up to 4 days. Frustration over the situation has led to protests, while clashes and disputes have been reported at multiple gas stations. Reports also claim that members of local Cossack groups have been deployed to some fuel stations to maintain order as tensions continue to rise. In some of the most dramatic incidents, desperate individuals were seen attempting to climb onto fuel tanker trucks in hopes of obtaining gasoline. While the full scale of the shortages remains unclear, the reported unrest highlights the growing strain on fuel supplies serving occupied Crimea and neighboring Russian regions. The photos from occupied Crimea tell the story better than any briefing. Handwritten signs taped to glass doors saying, "No power, shop closed," while the same owners try to pretend life continues. Burger joints, banks, grocery stores, all grinding to a halt because the basics are running out. This is not some temporary inconvenience. This is the slow-motion collapse of the occupation economy under sustained pressure. And yet ballistic missiles keep flying north from the peninsula.
This is Yevpatoria. Things like this are hanging everywhere.
Air defense, Iskanders, Pantsir-S still operate at full capacity. The contradiction is deliberate. The Kremlin treats Crimea as a launch pad first and a civilian territory second. Ordinary residents become collateral in their own supposed Russian world, while the military machine gets priority fuel, generators, and spare parts. This is exactly why the operation cannot stop at symbolic strikes. Every day the peninsula stays under occupation is another day Moscow uses it to bleed Ukraine and threaten the Black Sea region. Isolation is the only language they understand now. Cut the logistics, sink the ferries, burn the depots, keep the pressure on every node that feeds their strike capability. The lights going out in Simferopol and Yevpatoria are not cruelty. They are the direct consequence of turning civilian infrastructure into military staging grounds. Western hand-wringers still whisper about escalation and diplomatic off-ramps. Spare me. Moscow has zero interest in any off-ramp that does not leave them in possession of stolen territory and the ability to rearm. Putin cannot afford to end the war. Demobilize 1 million conscripts who have seen their friends ground into meat for empty villages, and the domestic questions start. What the hell was this for? The only lever that works is military defeat, full stop. Crimea is not a bargaining chip. It is Ukrainian land under illegal occupation since 2014, and the current crisis proves the occupation was never sustainable without constant theft from the mainland and constant violence to keep the population quiet. The signs in the windows are the first visible cracks. Keep hitting the rear areas, keep expanding the range and precision of Ukrainian strikes, keep turning their logistics into bonfires. By late 2026, the mid-range strike capability will be unrecognizable. The peninsula will be functionally cut off from resupply. No frozen lines, no Korean scenario, no negotiations that reward the aggressor with permanent control of Ukrainian soil. The only outcome that delivers actual peace is complete restoration of the 1991 borders, reparations, and a dismantled Russian imperial project. Everything else is just reloading the gun for the next round. The shop owners in Crimea holding up their cardboard signs are learning what Ukrainians have known since 2014. Living under this regime eventually means choosing between freezing in the dark or becoming cannon fodder. The difference is we chose to fight. They chose to wave flags and pretend it was liberation. History is not kind to that choice. Political commentator Mikhail Scheitelman claimed, citing his own source, that 2 tankers carrying gasoline to Crimea were hit and are burning in the Sea of Azov. He said each tanker carried a platoon of machine gunners.
Yes, I have some good news. I will inform everyone right now. Well, let's go. A sensation. An absolute exclusive. No one knows, but I was allowed. I do not even know how I heard about this, but what is done is done. I am telling you. 2 tankers were sailing right across the Sea of Azov. 2 battleships near Gibraltar, right? They maneuvered and maneuvered, but couldn't quite make it. So 2 tankers were sailing in the Sea of Azov just now, as far as I know. And each of them had a platoon of machine gunners guarding those tankers. As I understand it, these tankers were carrying gasoline to Crimea, specifically gasoline to Crimea. And as far as I know, they are no longer carrying gasoline to Crimea. They are no longer tankers, but torches. Torches of the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Federation. Official torches, you could say, an Olympic damn relay. They were carrying gasoline to Crimea. They brought fire to Crimea. Now, where did I get this from? Well, a reliable source, let's just say. A reliable source just told me this and authorized its publication. So I hope that in the morning we will all read about this somewhere, officially. At least something pleasant. Listen, this is just great news if it all gets confirmed. Let me say that this is unofficial. A little bird told gentleman.
It really happened. And where's the gasoline in the sea? The gasoline burned up, it burned up.
There was nothing left to float away in the sea. If the tanker caught fire and burned up along with the gasoline, well, maybe something spilled out, but I do not know. I do not know. That is the news. We will discuss it tomorrow. Tomorrow I hope official facts will emerge around this, just in case I was wrong, as they say. Larissa, gentlemans from Norway is with you. Thank you, Larissa. Congratulations.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.